There's one strategy that I've not been brave enough to try in a video yet, but that is what we're going to do today. We are going to attempt to pull off a double elite quarterback team that we don't hate. Now, obviously, Josh Allen is going to be a big part of that. Lamar Jackson is going to be a big part of that. I'm going to count everyone up until Drake May for this experiment. So we are going to try and get two of the top seven quarterbacks. I've just been thinking the way that fantasy football works this year, the way that best ball works this year, the quarterback prices have become so compressed that it is not uncommon to see five quarterbacks go in a row. If you look at the quarterback average draft positions, these guys are all compressed in such a small range. We've got the quarterback five going at pick 69 and a half, and then you have the quarterback 16 going at pick 104. And I think one of the ways to play this a little bit differently and potentially more intelligently is taking two of those guys. We're going to take Jamar Chase, and then potentially we are, you know what, I think I might even take Joe Burrow at pick 51 just for the sake of this experiment. We'll see if that ends up being any good. But I've just been gaming out all the iterations of the way that quarterback scoring goes. And I think there are plenty of running backs who are available in round 6, 7, 8 who give us a chance to, low end running back 1, maybe high end running back 2 points. The fact that wide receiver 2s do not exist in fantasy football anymore, this is like well worn territory. At this point, they're just a vast swath of wide receivers who basically score between 9.5 and 11.5 fantasy points per game. There's going to be like 30 of those guys in the NFL this year. We're not going to be able to do elite tight end. So using the Flock roster construction tool, this will probably end up being a 2-6-8-2 team, potentially a 2-5-8-3 team. We'll see kind of what ends up going on there. And I'm assuming, by the way, that the Flock roster construction tool is probably not going to like the double elite quarterback draft. But I have just been wondering, if the quarterback prices are more expensive than ever at the mid-tier, doesn't that mean that if the quarterbacks at the high end are not much more expensive than they have been in the past, doesn't that make them better values? It's a point that my friend Jacob Sanderson has raised on ADP chasing before. I think it is honestly like a pretty strong point. And some of these third round picks are just less desirable than they've been, for a long time. Like if we're looking at guys who go in the third round, you've got Neighbors with the knee injury. You've got Trey McBride with the quarterback ambiguity. You've got Josh Jacobs, who is dealing with his legal issues right now. I think there's a reason to think like Josh Allen might be a target. He's certainly not been a target of mine. I am well below market on Josh Allen. I'm right about at the market with most of the other quarterbacks that you would consider elites. 9.1% of Lamar, 6.1% of Joe Burrow, 6.7% of Jaden Daniels. But we are going to try and grab two of these guys. We also are going to try and keep our running back points, relatively stable. I would have loved to have taken Ken Walker here. Honestly, I don't even love taking Jeremiah Love. No pun intended there. So what I'm going to do for the sake of this experiment, which I said that I was going to do when we started this draft, I'm just going to take Josh Allen right here because I don't really care which running back I get at the next pick. I don't think there's much of a difference between, I think Breece Hall is way better than ETN, but he's on a much worse offense. So we are going to take Josh Allen at this pick for the sake of the experiment. And then when we get to the end, I just want you guys to tell me, do you think that one out of every 15 teams, one out of every 20 teams that you do on Underdog Fantasy, can we get away doing these double elite quarterback builds? Like, how bad is the roster construction? My guess is it's probably going to feel pretty bad. I wonder if the advance rates giving you an extra skill position player and knowing that basically every single week in your pod, you are going to win the quarterback spot. I wonder if it actually ends up being a little bit of an advance rate strategy. If I sort by ADP here, yeah, Jacobs is still there. He's not really fallen a ton in the actual applet yet. I just don't think we can afford to take McBride here. I don't think we can afford to take Neighbors here. So we are going to select Breece Hall, giving us Josh Allen, Breece Hall, and Jamar Chase to start. And then we are going to come back around. And I guess what I'm hoping for is either to get Burrow at pick 70 or the final of that elite tier would be Caleb Williams. Maybe it'll be Drake May. And I guess for the sake of this, potentially I would maybe just go ahead and take Dak Prescott just for like the roster construction of it all. Thinking through what positions might make sense here, I do think you could make a pretty good argument for Cam Scatterbo. I've seen Bucky falling quite a bit due to that shoulder injury stuff. I could try and really pull off a weirdo roster construction and take Loveland here. What taking Loveland would do would bring a Caleb Williams stack in play. You know what? I don't think I can do it. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna take Trevion Henderson because I guess I don't know if I'm a little bit spooked about the Bucky Irving thing, but I do know that the market is spooked about the Bucky Irving thing. Like I bet he's actually probably gonna be available for us at pick 51. And so I don't want to be the guy building the buy wall on Bucky Irving, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to be the guy keeping Bucky Irving's ADP anchored where it is if all of my opponents are going to let me get him in a week, in 10 days at a much cheaper price. So I'm happy to let Bucky fall to where the market wants him. Annoying because I wanted to take Rome. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Colston Loveland. We are going to have a whack job team. The roster construction here is going to be insane. Looking at the flock tool, we've got still good advance rates based on our positional allocations at running back. It's going to be bad. This is very surprising to me. These advance rates are very, very surprising to me. I might be able to pull out an A plus from the flock roster construction tool with this total weirdo start. I mean, Jamar Chase is the most important person in the world for this team, and now we have a pretty big sweat coming up to pick 70. Am I going to be able to pull this off with? Am I going to be able to get Joe Burrow? Am I going to be able to get Caleb Williams? Am I going to be able to get Drake May, Jalen Hurts? I really, really hope so. Well, this is a recorded draft, but people are acting like it's a stream draft because I've gotten sniped on everyone. My only hope now is to get Jalen Hurts. If not, I'm a man of my word, though. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to overdraft Dak Prescott, and I guess I'll have to take Jake Ferguson to stack with him later. Hope very, very much hoping to get Jalen Hurts here so that we can get Jalen Hurts and that is so annoying, man. I am so annoyed, but we're gonna do it. I'm sticking through it. Yeah, I can take Jake Ferguson later. So just to show you guys the draft board here, Burrow went at pick 60 to the T. Higgins drafter, whatever, that's fine. Drake May didn't even go to the AJ Brown drafter, just went at pick 64. Lamar Jackson, totally cromulent pick, though not to the Zay Flowers drafter. Caleb Williams went to the Burden drafter. Jaden Williams went at 67. Jalen Hurts went at 69. Unstacked, uncorrelated again. Oh, no, sorry, not unstacked, uncorrelated. That's to a Devonta Smith team. So I took Dak Prescott at pick 70. I guess we can take Flournoy later as well. I can take Jaden Blue at the end. But the point here really actually wasn't so much like, is this given team that I drafted going to be the winning team in this tournament? The answer to that is probably no. It's more about what does doing the double elite quarterback do to your strategy? Do we like the shape and texture of the teams later? Now, this one went off a little bit on track, but I got Loveland after ADP, which I like. And I'm also going to end up taking Mekhi Lemon here. So the guy who took Jalen Hurts is not going to get him. Hey, man, I'm just following my rankings here. The guy next to me has gobbled up 5 wide receivers as well, which is sort of interesting. Honestly, the team as it stands now, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, Trevion Henderson, Jamar Chase, Mekhi Lemon, and Colston Loveland. I don't hate it yet. What is probably going to make me hate it is my next 2 picks at 94 and 99. Those are smack dab in the middle of the quarterback window. And the reason the quarterback window exists is not necessarily just because the quarterbacks are good picks there. It's that the skill position options around there are pretty brutal. It's, you're looking at your Blake Corums, you're looking at your Quentin Johnstons, and you just don't really want to take those guys. The quarterbacks avail themselves as much better picks in that portion of the draft. But we are going to do 2 quarterbacks. Right now, we're sitting at a 15% advance rate with the 2 quarterbacks. If we stick at 5 running backs, it's a 21% historical advance rate. If we get up to 8 wide receivers, it's a 21% historical advance rate. And then we probably are going 3 tight ends for the 18% advance rate here. Recommended roster construction is a 2-5-8-3, which is what I said at the beginning of the video. And that is probably what we're going to end up doing. Well, as predicted, I don't particularly love the skill position players available at this position. I mean, Worthy is fine. Corum is fine. Dobbins is fine. There's no real stacking options for us here. So I'm going to take Downs, actually, which is just someone I'm trying to get a little bit more exposure to. But you guys are seeing the real issue here, which is Josh Downs is my wide receiver 3. I could be taking Mahomes. I could be taking Purdy. I could be taking Dart here. Now, these are still decent skill position players. Like Kyle Pitts is a good pick here. Dobbins, I think, is a good pick here. Corum, I'm having a hard time making sense of Corum's price because basically I just have a hard time thinking he's got a ton of standalone value. And the market does seem like they think he has quite a bit of standalone value. I mean, he's probably going to average about what? 7.5 points per game if Kyron Williams plays the entire season. We are going to take J.K. Dobbins here, would be the running back that I have. Actually, I guess I've got him and Corum right about the same. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move that Corum ranking down lower a bit on the Flock Fantasy website. So we're going to take Dobbins here, which brings us to Allen, unstacked, but we're going to load up Shakir and I think Kincaid later. Dak Prescott, Brees Hall, Trevion Henderson, J.K. Dobbins, Jamar Chase, Mekhi Lemon. Josh Downs is your wide receiver 3. Mekhi Lemon is your wide receiver 2. You're not loving it, which is why on this team, we are definitely going to be erring on the side of trying to overwhelm the field at wide receiver with numbers. Luckily, when you take Josh Allen, there are backdoor stacks, already built into it here. So we did miss out. Wow, man, Jake Ferguson is available here at pick 118, who is very important to this team. I have to decide, do I want to take Shakir ahead of ADP? I mean, I think the answer is probably yes, because I would just be too annoyed to have unstacked Josh Allen. Do I think Khalil Shakir is a good pick? Not really. Honestly, I don't. We are going to take Jake Ferguson because I need it for the stack. I could have easily taken Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt there. I could try and say, honestly, I could just do Josh unstacked. I think the skill position players here are probably too good to pass on in the context of my team. Actually, I was gonna honestly, I was gonna take Shakir. You guys know I don't like Khalil Shakir. I was gonna do it, but passing on JCM, passing on Jonathan Brooks, even passing on Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, or even Rashad White. I mean, Rashad White's 9.5 fantasy points per game might be good enough for this team. Gives us a little bit of week 17 correlation as well. If I were to take Tyrone Tracy, which would give me the Dallas stuff, we are locked in with our 2 tight ends. I'm just going to take JCM. I am. So now we have got a very schizo build. We have a 2-4-3-2. The advance rates are just not as bad as I thought they were going to be. We're looking at, if we go 5 running backs, we're looking at 17% historically. If we get to 8 wide receivers, it's funny that the advance rates are actually higher with 7. I'm assuming that has to do with yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it would have to do with tight ends. So we are just going to pile on wide receivers. Look, I can take Skylar Bell at the very end if I absolutely have to do a stack. But I mean, think about how often in a DFS slate or an NFL Battle Royale slate, we have seen Josh Allen do his thing. I mean, famously, Josh Allen had a 50 fantasy point game where none of his teammates, this is actually true, none of his teammates topped 20 fantasy points in a game where Josh Allen had 50. A bit annoying to see Stephon Diggs go here, who is definitely my preferred option. I mean, Coker's fine. Actually, Travis Hunter is perfect for this team because I need to be embracing hardcore variance with all the rest of my wide receiver picks. I'm going to be so far behind at wide receiver 2, 3, and probably even the flex on this team. Although Jake Ferguson capable of contributing in the flex. Well, it's like these guys are watching. Okay, we are going to take Omar Cooper Jr., who I do not particularly love. My guy Pat Carrain does like Omar Cooper Jr. He is a first round wide receiver prospect. The arguments for Omar Cooper Jr. are basically the same as they are for Stribling. They're really actually not that dissimilar from the arguments for Travis Hunter, which was Travis Hunter was a second round overall pick. So I'm ignoring a lot of the evidence that the team doesn't think he's going to be playing that much offense. Boston would be okay here. I don't really like Naylor. I don't really like Tucker. I don't really like Woody Marks. I mean, again, this is another of the annoying things. The quarterback picks here are fine. Taking Daniel Jones here is fine. Man, okay. I'm just going to go. I need the variant. I need Denzel Boston more than I need Juwan Jennings because I need a guy who I think can run into a 22% target share in the postseason weeks. Jennings is totally a fine pick there, but he was not correlated other than being a week 17 pick with Omar Cooper Jr. Boston is not a prospect I love. The slot model did not love Denzel Boston, but 3 rookie wide receivers. All right, it's time for me. It's time for me to tighten up. It's gotta happen right now. Looking at what's on this roster, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Brees Hall, Trevion Henderson, J.K. Dobbins, JCM, Chase, Lemon, Downs, Cooper, Denzel, Boston, Loveland, and Ferguson. I mean, it's pretty clear. I might even just go 4 running backs, honestly, on this team. It might probably be fine with 4. I mean, maybe I could take one at the very end. Deebo Samuel, good fit for this team because now that I've taken Lemon, Cooper, and Boston, I probably need to start trending towards some veteran guys. I also earmarked a pick for Flournoy. Ryan Flournoy up to wide receiver 69, pick 176 overall. I mean, I don't know how much sense that makes. It makes a lot of sense on this team because this team does not have George Pickens. This team does not have CeeDee Lamb. So I guess I probably should. Dude, that is so annoying. All right. I'm getting is this crazy? Like are you guys following this? I'm getting sniped on every pick. I swear every player I'm mentioning is getting taken like right before. I mean, I guess that's kind of the way that fantasy football and best ball works in general, where guys are tied to an average draft position range, so sometimes you miss on them. But this is getting a little bit ridiculous. So that actually makes me more think that one of these running backs is in play. I mean, I can probably just wait. Maybe I could take a Ray Davis at the end. I think that one makes a little bit of sense. Like even more is going to be on Josh's plate if James Cook gets injured. Still plenty of wide receivers who are around. I mean, Calvin Ridley is another just like veteran going to be on the field the first month of the season. Because I've got a lot of wide receivers, but these wide receivers are mostly bad outside of not bad, but unproven, wide range of outcomes. Calvin Ridley, not a very wide range of outcomes. They're actually very straightforward. Same would be true with Jerry Jeudy. Same would be true with Mooney. This is a Darnell Mooney ass team. It really is. All right, we are going to take Calvin Ridley, bringing us up to the 7 wide receiver count, a 2-4-7-2. Recommendation still holding firm at needing another tight end and needing another running back. We'll see. This might be, this could end up being the most wide receivers I've ever drafted on an underdog team, honestly. It's really a sort of an interesting part of a thought experiment draft. Like, this is not a part of the game tree I ever find myself in. Like, I'm totally good at quarterback. I'm totally good at tight end. I honestly think the Brees Hall Trevion Henderson combo is like quite good. So I don't even really think I need another running back. I think I'm probably fine with 4. So I'm going to save that decision till the very end. There's not a tight end who's really calling out for me, not an obvious stack solution. And I mean, the advance rates, I just don't know how convincing they are for me. You know, I said this was a Darnell Mooney-ass team. It's a Darnell Mooney-ass team. Like, while I'm waiting for Mekhi Lemon and Omar Cooper Jr. and Denzel Boston to figure out which one of them is going to be the man, Darnell Mooney is going to be getting his 4.5 catches for 37 yards per game at the beginning part of the season. And I'm going to try and figure out, is that enough to advance this team? You know what? Keon Coleman, actually draftable. The advance rate stuff, I mean, this is very, very stark. 16% with 2 tight ends, 18.8% with 3. I think I gotta do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna opt for the running back. I'm gonna opt for Ray Davis, and then I'm gonna put Keon Coleman and I'm gonna put Skylar Bell in the queue. And when we get there to the end, very Mr. Trubisky. When we get there to the end, I'm going to decide, do I stack or is there actually a wide receiver I think might get me some points? But I couldn't do the third. I took Colson Loveland in round 4 and I took Jake Ferguson early. I mean, I took 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks through 10 rounds. Even if the computer on Flock Fantasy is going to tell me I'm wrong, this is what I'm going to do. I'm really hemming and hawing about this decision. It's hard for me to obviously go against the clear historical advance rate. It's also hard for me to do just like no stacks. My wide receiver room is pretty young with Lemon, Cooper, and Boston. Totally brought it back though with Flournoy, Ridley, and Mooney. Keon is an obvious stack. Skylar Bell is an obvious stack. I mean, you just do not know how much those guys are going to play. Tyreek would have been kind of interesting on this team. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Keon Coleman. What if Keon Coleman goes for 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns? People are asking. All right, guys, Josh Allen and Dak Prescott, Brees Hall, Trevion Henderson, J.K. Dobbins, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Ray Davis, Jamar Chase, Mekhi Lemon, Josh Downs, Omar Cooper Jr., Denzel Boston, Ryan Flournoy, Calvin Ridley, Darnell Mooney, Keon Coleman, Colston Loveland, and Jake Ferguson. What I want you guys to tell me, comment down below, do you think that even 1 out of every 20 drafts you do, it's viable to do these double elite quarterbacks? I mean, obviously, pretend I'd gotten Jalen Hurts. I do think, I wanted to take Rome Odunze instead of Loveland to potentially set up a Caleb Williams thing. Maybe should have taken Devontae Adams. Maybe could have just taken DeAndre Swift and set it up that way. I don't like double, or I don't mind double winning the onesies, though. I think it's completely fine. But you guys let me know down below. Did you think this was any good? Make sure that you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the Davis Mattek channel for daily best ball videos, and I'll be back with you guys on Monday.